Hello and welcome to Health and Wellness, your guide to the integrated personal and financial retirement journey for physicians. I'm your host, Michael Swartz, Certified Financial Planner and Master Certified Physician Development Coach. Welcome back to the Health and Wellness Podcast. As always, I'm Michael Swartz, and with me today is Nancy Murphy. Nancy, I'll have you start maybe by introducing yourself, your role, your career timeline, and as you approach retirement here, just have you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to be here. I appreciate what you're doing to help other physicians get ready for a big change. I am a professor at the University of Utah here in Salt Lake City. I'm in the Department of Pediatrics, and I take care of kids with disabilities as a physiatrist. I've been in this particular institution for almost 25 years. And over the course of that experience, have been in multiple roles, from starting in a very busy clinical practice to now 20 some years later, focusing on faculty development, faculty engagement, faculty coaching, with a sliver of clinical practice that keeps me engaged.
Excellent. And so you've kind of already seen your career shift over time, evolve over time. And I think the real focus of our conversation today and just this snippet of the podcast will be on your transition now into retirement and maybe the structure that you've put around that in the years to come. And I'm curious, would you feel comfortable kind of sharing your next 5 years, the plan that as you approach retirement, kind of what that looks like for you and why it's
I
so
like the
awesome?
5 year plan because here we go. I'm going to say that originally I said I was going to retire at 60 because I wanted I never took a gap year. I never really played when I was young. And I always said I want to play when I'm in that space where I can. I am now 62. And my commitment to myself and to my husband is that I will retire by 65. I am blessed with good health and I could keep going. But there's so many other things I want to do that I need to make space for them. So it took me at least a year of introspection and negotiation to get to the space where I sit now. As it stands, I have a phased retirement contract with the university, and my effort decreases once a year by 25%. So starting July 1, which is just a few weeks away, I will work 4 days a week. And then the following year, 3 days a week. And then the following year, day and a half, 2 days a week, with no call and increasing emphasis on faculty development, decreasing emphasis on clinical service, and a lot of mentorship and academic work in between.
Well, in the podcast, we talk a lot about this concept of the retirement transition, not that retirement is a date in the future where it's 100% to zero. And when I presented this idea to a family medicine physician here in La Crosse, he pointed at the stair-step nature of this transition. He goes, that's going to be very difficult. It was almost as if to say this would be impossible for a physician. And so you, it sounds like, put a ton of effort into deciding that was how you're going to do it intentionally, because I think unintentionally it typically unfolds as more of a cliff, working until the day someone retires, and then the what's next comes up. Whereas for you, it took that time, did the introspection, as you mentioned, over the course of a year to, it sounds like, wrestle with this, with expectations from yourself, from your husband, from your employer, and really had to negotiate all the major players. If you had advice for other physicians approaching retirement, could you share maybe how that benefits you and your relationship with your career here in the final years?
I think um, the most valuable thing I did was turn inward and really listen to what is important to me. I'd love to hear what's important to my husband, my kids, my friends, and my employer. But in the end, that's not enough. I have to make sure that I'm doing what's important for me. And so I thought about cliff jumping. A lot of people recommend it. Um, and to be quite frank, I can phase and then say, a day and a half a week, this is dumb, I'm not doing it. Or change it in any other direction. The only thing I can't do, and people grumble, but I think this is a blessing, is go back up the stairs. So once you contract that you're coming down, it's a one-way street. I like that.
Hmm.
It takes away any chance to second guess, 2020 hindsight, whatever it is, this is the way we're going. And that to me is comfort because now all I have to do is navigate it. I don't have to map it. Just figure it out as I go. I wouldn't want to jump off the cliff.
Well, I think that's so powerful for you to say, well, it's given me clarity. These are the things I no longer have to worry about. If it's set that way, then I build around it. And with two thoughts on that. One, I've heard from several executives that cliff jumping leads to regret or can, that second guessing, where 3 months, 6 months, a year later, they'll come back to the institution and say, could I have my job back? And it was unplanned. It was either health or capacity. I mean, we all know why physicians retire, right? There's a myriad of reasons, but sometimes it's not by choice.
Right.
And those are the folks who maybe come back and say, how do I get this back? And for you, it was nope, this is the path forward. The other piece that I think is more powerful that I'd love to have you expand on is that idea of turning inward. Because when physicians retire from external reasons or for external purposes, um, that's not by choice, but by nature of their career, physicians do have a very externally defined environment. So
Absolutely.
what is the power for you of turning it back inward and how did that help your journey?
Um, yeah, we talk a lot about external forces and looking for outward. Um, but you can see my office is partially cleaned up. The awards and the certificates are coming off the wall, and that's taking my external recognition of my value down. Um, and yeah, that stings for a minute, and that is kind of liberating. I'm going to end up with an empty office that's ready for the next person. So going internal to say, I'm doing what's right for me personally, and therefore that's going to make me the best emeritus faculty I can be. Um, it just works. I think trying to please everybody else, which is what we do, I think, in physician in the practice of medicine, dang, we're people pleasers. Um, and turning that back and saying what would be most pleasing to me um, is fun. It's new.
It is, and it's a skill set. You know, we talk about a rusted internal compass to some degree, where for the sake of a successful career, there are demands from the environment that force us to maybe self-sacrifice, to people please,
Mhm.
to say less what do I want and more to what do they want or need. And yet, here's this opportunity in retirement that for years leading up to that retirement date, you can develop those skills and start building those muscles and you're showing signs of hope, Nancy. You're talking with optimism, and there's some energy in your voice saying, "Yeah, it is painful to face, but
Mhm.
what's on the other side of that is pretty amazing experiences and opportunities."
Right. It's an opportunity to do things that so far I've not done.
And
You
what
know,
are a few of those things?
oh God. I dabble on the piano. I used to be kind of good, and now I'm really not. But I could take dabbling up to practicing. Um, I could get my achy back out of the chair and back onto my yoga mat so that I don't need to take ibuprofen. I can walk the dog until we're tired, not until we're out of time. Um, I can have friends drop in and help my neighbor with her trash and volunteer for Special Olympics I've got my eye on. Maybe coach at a women's shelter. There's so much to do that is equally, if not more satisfying. I
Awesome.
think the idea of mastery is is overstated. I think I've mastered clinical practice. So it's not exciting. Now I gotta go master retirement.
Well, I love that you bring that up, Nancy, because it's not an easy choice to make. And I just maybe in our closing thoughts here. What did it take for you over the course of that year turning inward to really make this a more manageable and exciting transition rather than something that was scary or intimidating because it is so new? What took place over the course of that year that your perspective changed to make it so positive?
Um, I think it was doing it inwardly and not doing it alone.
Mm.
So I have, thank goodness for people like you. I don't understand my finances. I really don't. And so I got a guy. And this guy has followed me through my career. And he's like, you're good. You're good. Just you're good. And then he proved to me I'm good. I was so afraid of what happens if my financial pipeline is cut. Am I okay? So once I had that clarity, I could stop with the worry and start with the excitement of what waits ahead.
Awesome. So getting questions for the biggest concerns and then giving yourself
Mhm.
permission to focus on the opportunities rather than just the fears and just the things that need to be taken care of to the what could be done.
Yes, absolutely. Money is one thing, but most physicians have enough. And
Yeah.
so with enough, it's time to make those other changes.
Yeah. And I love that you bring that up because, as a planner who helps physicians retire, I see it all the time. Is it's a number.
Same.
Maybe it's 4 million, maybe it's 2 million, maybe it's 5, maybe it's 10. But it's interesting. Enough is never enough. That the number can always be moving until we're willing to accept that it doesn't have to. And
Right.
so it's almost as if we kind of come up with this number. I'll be happy when, if it's a number,
Mhm.
but then when you get there, you don't feel any different. It's providing a utility for that purpose. It's saying now I can retire earlier because that money is actually enough for what is it enough for? And it sounds like that's what you got to turn your attention to is what do we do with that? And that's really exciting for you.
I am so thrilled. And if you think about the things that I said I want to do, I already own the piano. The dog's sitting there with her leash. I'm not talking about high budget things like run around the globe twice. I I I don't need to live big.
And how helpful is that to know too? And so having just maybe some clarity on what is it that I want to do outside of my career? And what is it going to take to find it? That's how you define enough. And
Yes.
from what I heard, you knew that you did, and so now you can.
Yes. Here we go. I look
Awesome.
forward to it.
Awesome. Well, Nancy, thank you for the brief conversation today. I would be excited to have you back for a longer form conversation, but it was great to have you on today.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.
All right.
Okay. You have
Thank
a
you very
great day.
much.
I'll see you
You
again
too.
soon.
All right. Bye. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Health and Wellness Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Michael Swartz, Certified Financial Planner and Master Certified Physician Development Coach. If you're looking for additional resources for integrated physician retirement planning, please visit healthandwellness.com. We'll see you in the next episode.